Good evening, brothers and sisters. Glad to be back with you. Let me say that you and I are on the road to redemption. We're redeeming our people. We're redeeming our people. And I want you to keep that mindset. So in order to do that, as we redeem our people, brothers and sisters, we have to talk about the negativity that we're facing today. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about bad decisions that we made today. We have to talk about that. If we don't talk about those things, we're not going to grow. And so we want to grow today, okay? We certainly want to grow. Don't forget that we have Prince Imhotep University, and I'm doing a bunch of these short shows because I'm trying to catch up to where I need to be today, so I'll be on track tomorrow. So we got two other short shows coming up. Two other short shows coming up so that we can certainly address our issues and handle them per se, so that we don't make the same mistake. Prince Imhotep University is where we can get our education. And I do want you to get education. We need brothers and sisters working on herbal pharmacies and things of that nature. So I'm asking you to be strong. Today we're going to be discussing about Coakley's questions to Michael Muhammad, one of the brothers that was a Muslim, also in the New Black Panther Party, that Khalid had taken over as chairman and administrator. And this brother was also associated with the assassination of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And later he went back into the Nation of Islam. And this is the reason I say we can't overlook the involvement of Farrakhan in the death of Minister Malcolm, and also in the death of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Can't do it. If we do that, then we do ourselves a disservice, brothers and sisters. And one thing we don't want to do is do ourselves a disservice, but we want to get into the accuracy and the intricacies of the death of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, because it will help us understand the death of Minister Malcolm. And that's something that we do have to understand. We have to understand that. It's not going to go away because you want it to go away. It's something that we have to understand. Something that we have to understand. So just bear with me, because we're going to be talking about and addressing these type of issues. We had some system failures a few days ago, and that's fine. The system failures are fine because we know that once we're on track, we'll be able to get the information out, right? And we know that we have a battle, right? You and I, we have a battle. It's always something going on. Whenever you're trying to do good and put out information that is good, it's always something going on. It's always something that can stop you from putting that information out, or something that can stop you from doing the best that you can do to get out the right information. And we call it a satanic force. And if you don't believe that the devil is working, then you got another thing coming. Satan is busy today, brothers and sisters. The devil is busy. And we've got to get on God's side so that God will be on our side, and we'll know how to stand. We got to know how to stand against the wiles of the devil. Is that right or wrong? We got to know how to stand. And so a lot of these virtual systems and stuff you see coming up, they're merely up, brothers and sisters, for us to have an avenue to take back control of this planet. We got to have an avenue to take the control back. Take the control back of this planet. We are losing control because the devils that are in charge of this earth were not given charge of this earth. And all you have to do to figure that out is to understand that if they were given charge, they wouldn't be doing so many things to destroy this earth or to mess it up, right? And I'm sure you would agree that there's a lot of things that are destroying this earth and messing it up. But all praises be to Allah God, that he has empowered us to do better than that. That God has literally empowered us. And so my encouragement to you is that we will be righteous, live righteous lives, and be right. We have to be righteous. We have to be righteous. So we're going to take our time. We'll certainly take our time to get involved today and talk about this show and everything that we need to talk about to make sure that this show is certainly profitable in the sense of the information that it has to put out. And we're still having certain difficulties on here, but nonetheless, we're going to fight through these difficulties, right, and make it to the place that we need to make, right, so that we can fulfill our agenda today. We have an agenda to fulfill today. So to get involved in our agenda, and so that we'll be able to do the work of God. God desire, brothers and sisters, that none will be lost. That's God's desire, is that none will be lost. And if we put up the truth and we live a righteous life, then people won't be lost. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be righteous. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in being perfect and being righteous. To be righteous means to be always in the mind and heart to make a good decision. And that's what you got to understand. We have to have the mind and heart of God to make good decisions so that our brothers and our sisters that are dealing with these problems and situations can overcome these weaknesses, problems, and situations. I don't care what it is that you're dealing with. God can deliver you through the love and affection of another brother or sister. God put us together. He doesn't make any mistakes. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. But it means that you're going to have the love and the mind to love, right? The love and the mind to love the people of God. And if they're without, then you'll bring them within so they can understand salvation. And love is a tough thing. It's not weak. Love is tough. And once we give it out, then the person will know. We're not going to let them go bad. We're not going to let them make any bad decisions. We're not going to do that. We'll constantly be on them to make good decisions. At the same time, we tell them that we love them because we know we mean it. Is that right or wrong? So also, I don't want you to forget that we have we also have the practice, holistic health and holistic products. Now, brothers and sisters, listen. We're not begging you for money. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. But what we're telling you is when you use your money, you need to spend it on something that's going to benefit you. Right? Something's going to benefit you. You can take all of that unhealthy stuff. You can eat all the unhealthy stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just going to leave you unhealthy. But the minute you start taking charge of your health, you'll find out that God will take 2 steps and increase your health to a positive state where you're able to control yourself, right? And be an example and a shining light, an example to other brothers and sisters that may be misguided as it relates to health, as it relates to their physical health and their spiritual health. And that's what God had you here for. So you got to be wise. We got to be wise and use the time that God has given us. We got to use that time that God has given us to be an example and ensample to the world that we face today. And so, brothers and sisters, that's the reason that I'm in front of you. I want to give out information. We have a schedule to keep. We have a schedule to keep. But nonetheless, we're going to keep this schedule. And after which, we're going to be able to talk in unison as one body, right? We'll be able to talk in unison as one body. And one won't be able to fall for the power of the other. One won't be able to fall. So that's what we're doing today. Now, the holistic products that you can use is healthy for your body. It's very healthy for your body. And God wants you more than anything else. The Lord God wants you to be concerned about your physical health. Right? He said his desire is that you will prosper as your soul prospers. Is that right or wrong? Right? So he wants you to be concerned about your physical health, wants you to be concerned about your spiritual health, and he wants us united because in unity there is strength. I'm sure you would agree that when we have unity, we do have strength. And God would certainly not want you to be out there by yourself. He didn't make us to be alone, but he created us all to be together. So I want you to understand that. In our subject today, as we talked before, our subject today is still a very powerful subject, right? Still a very powerful subject. And in this particular subject, as we just talked a few minutes before, in this particular subject, God, the one we know is God, which is the God that controls us, controls the universe, controls our mind, controls our thought, and all of these things. God had brought us to the place where Steve Coakley, in his wisdom, the wisdom that God gave him, could question Michael Muhammad of Khalid's murder. Because all of these individuals that was around Dr. Khalid had to be questioned concerning his murder. All of them had to be questioned. There's no crime that the black man goes into or white man goes into where there's not an investigator to find out exactly what happened. Our problem is that we've been killing our leaders for so long, brothers and sisters, that we expect to have some type of clemency, right, to kill them with impunity. And that's the same thing I said about Farrakhan. I know we're going back, but whoever it is, when we investigate these murders, We investigate the murder of Drew Ali, for instance. Investigate the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Investigate the murder of Minister Malcolm X, President John Kennedy, President Robert F. Kennedy. When we begin to research these crimes, then the breadcrumbs would often lead to the person that did it, right? But because of the country that we're in, we've gotten used to killing our prophets, got used to killing our leaders, and not getting any questions about it. We feel that we're beyond reproach, but it can't be that way, brothers and sisters, because God said there's nothing that is hidden that should not be revealed. Is that right or wrong? And so God will show you something in his own mind. God will show you something when somebody has offended someone or they went wayward. God will show you that in your mind. We're spiritual beings. You have to understand that we're spiritual. And the fact that we're spiritual means that God will prick us. The God in us, the God sense in us, God will prick us when something isn't right. God will prick us. And he, by the Spirit, will be able to bear witness to all things. Our spirits actually know the difference between truth and lies if we get embedded into God. But none of these individuals that did the assassination were willing to come forth. But the fingerprint, the breadcrumbs of white nationalist killing, that's what it is. America was built on white nationalism. It was built on slavery, right? The employment was slavery, but the product was white, the product of wealth came from slavery, but the cog to turn this was white nationalism. I want you to know that George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all of them that served in a presidency, even some black like John Hanson, all of them was sponsoring white nationalism. And white nationalism has nothing to do with black nationalism. It is an oppressive regime. A Western global power structure was being built then to keep control. America was built to keep control of the rest of the world and the government. Right? When you study the history, then you're aware of the pitfalls. I want you to know the white man studied his history, so he is aware of the pitfalls. But you don't study your history, so you're not aware of the pitfalls. You understand me, brothers and sisters? So this is where we are. We've got to understand where we come from, what we're dealing with, and we understand that, then we'll understand where we're going. You'll never do it. You'll never do it if you don't understand what the foundation is. If you don't have a foundation to know exactly where you come from, then you'll continue to recreate the same mess. You'll continue to recreate the same problem wherever you go. But if you want to get away from those problems, then you got to change your habits. You got to change your religious habits. You got to change your spiritual habits, and you got to change your social habits. Is that right or wrong? And so here it is. When an individual is in a state of mind where they have not been converted to do better, to convert it to one's higher self, then you begin to keep the actions of a lower self, low nature, which is nothing more than animalistic. That's why the white man is the highest part of the animal kingdom. You don't hear me, brothers and sisters. I said the white man is a higher part of the animal kingdom, and proof of which he said it himself. I'm not saying it. I know some of you are probably saying, well, the brother, he's so hateful. I'm not hateful. I don't hate anyone. As a matter of fact, this is love talk. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you. Is that right or wrong? But my job is not to babysit the white man. My job is to mature you. My job is to mature you. You got to wake up. You got to get up and stand in the power that God has given you. And he didn't give you power to assassinate people. He didn't give you power to turn against people. That's why I use these examples. I use these examples because they have killed many of our prophets, our leaders. But they couldn't have done it without us. I want you to just think on that, brothers and sisters. Think on what I'm telling you. We better learn to love one another. We better learn to love one another. You shouldn't be, the only time you should be shouting at me if I'm not doing my best, or I know that, or you know that I'm going to run myself into a ditch. It's the only time you should be shouting at me. Right? To make sure that I'm doing right, that I stay on the mark. Is that right or wrong? So I want you to stay on the mark. That's why I'm hard on you, because I want you to stay on the mark. And I know that a lot of entities are coming against us because our salvation is already. We could literally walk in the promised land in 3 hours, but you've been roaming around in this desert for over 40 to 60 years. That's you. That's you. The book of prophecy was talking about you in Exodus. That was you. You're the one that was in bondage. You're the one that was kept in bondage from your own brothers because they had yielded to white power. That's you. The prophecy of Moses and the Hebrew people is talking about us. That's our history. The Bible is our history. Is that right or wrong? So, brothers and sisters, we got to do better. We got to train to do better. We got to do better. And every day we have to do better tomorrow than we did today. Because our salvation is here, our deliverance is here and everything, but we'll never get it by turning on one another and assassinating our leaders. We won't do it. We won't do it. But we got to be strong and protect our leaders, right? The ones that are righteous, the ones that are spiritual, right? Because if they're not righteous and spiritual, well, don't worry about it. God will take care of them. I said God will take care of them. So, brothers and sisters, that's really all I have for you today. I love you. Believe you me when I tell you I love you. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I love you. And if you hate me, don't die. If you hate me, don't die. So God has blessed us. God has blessed you and I. That's kind of God we serve. He's blessed us. And all we have to do, the only thing that we have to do is to be obedient unto God. If we be obedient unto him, and we learn to serve mankind and be fair to the leaders they've set in front of us, it don't matter where you are. It don't matter where you are. You can respect leadership. Wherever you are. No matter who they are, you can respect leadership. No one person does the same thing all the time. And none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. So I want to hear you talking about you perfect. Because none of us are perfect. Right? But we can have mercy on one another. We can build one another up. We can love one another. We can stand by one another and we can protect one another. Don't be like Puffy. Don't be like Sean Combs, Sean Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, going through destroying your community, running them up, raping men, raping women, drugging them. God didn't make you to be a pimp or a prostitute. God made you to be respectable. You are the cream of the planet. Black woman, you are the producer of life. Black man, you are the tiller and protector of that life. You are the scientist that God has put in this world to deliver it and create formulas of salvation for those that are otherwise lost, whether it be medicinal, natural, spiritual, social, or eternal. You have to understand that you are God. You're the God of the planet. You're the scientist of the universe. You're the giver of life, the appreciator and maker of all things good. You join in with a counterpart, female counterpart, that will help you in this work that God has left you. But we got to get together, brothers and sisters. It won't happen if we don't get together. Brothers and sisters, I love you. If I didn't say it at the beginning, I say it now. And as parents, love your children. Children, love your parents. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But you're doing that for yourself. And protect yourself in the power of God. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.